Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk with a gentleman today who has created a wonderful company with healthy Greek and Mediterranean foods. And it goes deeper than the food. It goes into the principles behind it, the health, the love that goes into what he does, and also his journey that got him here to the United States. Company is called Tassos.com. He is the man that puts his name on the company. Tassos Chronopoulos joins us once again. How are you doing, my friend?
Very good. I can't complain. I'm alive.
Well, I have a confession to make.
Go ahead.
Since we've talked last time, I ordered a bottle of your virgin olive oil, and it came just the other day. And
how was it?
I've always, and here's the reason why I got it. Because you talked about the health benefits, and I've used it. I'm not a chef, but I've used olive oil in cooking and everything. I've never just taken a spoon of olive oil. I've never done that. And you said that you do it. I think you said once in the morning, once at night, just a tablespoon each time.
Yes.
And I'm going to get in the practice of doing that. And you inspired by.
This is the biggest secret that the pharmaceuticals have been able to keep away from the American consumer. It cleans up your veins. It helps your brain. It helps your heart. It keeps you young, and I am 84 years old, and that's what I contribute to be at 84 and still working.
That I'm being very serious. That's what inspired me. And just all of the benefits that you shared, especially with your olive oil. And what I wanted to ask you was, how do you judge a good bottle of extra virgin olive oil? There's an acidity level that was on there that you mentioned briefly. How do we do that?
It is the oleic acidity. There are different categories of olive oil. The extra virgin has to have less than 1% oleic acidity. Ours varies between 2.2 and 0.5%. Then there's also extra virgin olive oil, which is the oleic acidity is between 1 and 2%. They also have olive oils which are a blend from different regions, and the oleic acidity is mixed because different areas, the weather or the sun or the watering of the trees is different altogether. From where you have a product from a specific origin, which is recognized by the European Olive Oil Association as product of designated origin. So you will see that we have also a label that in our label saying PDO, product of designated origin. There are also other differences in the quality of olive oil. It is how you keep the fruit flies and all kinds of birds, flying things away from the trees eating the olives. Most of the people spray the trees. We don't spray these trees. We go around the olive grove and we go with wires, electrical wires and sound wires, so that we can attract the fruit flies to the sound trap and then get rid of them without spraying the olive grove. So there are many things that you cannot put everything on a label because there's no space to write all this stuff. But we take the time to let the consumer know what they have. The olives, for instance, they are harvested. They come immediately to our plant to be pressed. They are peated because on the peat has also oil, and they are selling out a cooking oil, they call it, which is a blend of the olive extracted from the peat, which goes through heat and then pours whatever olive oil segment has in its peat, and then that falls into water, and then it's scraped, and then they make it. They call it olive oil, and in Europe they call it pomace olive oil. Over here they call it cooking oil. So the problem with us producing products for the consumer to be consumed by the consumer is totally different than in the general. I don't want to accuse anybody, but the philosophy of companies that are producing food stuff. Our goal is to give the American consumer the best in quality and the most healthy, no matter if it's olives or fig spread or marmalades or olive oil.
When they say extra virgin olive oil, what does that mean?
Extra in European terms is exeretico, which means the best of its kind.
The best of its kind, meaning it's
in quality.
Gotcha. Okay. Is Greece the best place to grow olives and then produce olive oil?
Here's the story. This is where everything that you see on this planet in terms of trees, they were not born there. They were not set there by a miracle or by God or anything else. They are the products of this planet. In Greece, in ancient times, the olive tree started, became, a phenomenon for the Greeks, and they started prior to Christ. I'm talking about the ancient times. To produce olive oil. In fact, in the Olympics in Greece, instead of a gold medal, they would give them a jar of olive oil. So, I'm sorry, my phone.
All good.
In fact, Christ and his apostles, when they had lunch and dinner, they were using olive oil and wine. Those trees. The olive trees started in Greece, but because Greece was a big empire at the time, before Alexander the Great, they planted the trees all across the Mediterranean Sea to the Black Sea. And then they went in, because in Spain, Spain and Italy today, it was part of the ancient Greek territory. They planted trees there. That's how the olive trees became something to be noticed. As of late, a lot of olive groves have been planted in Florida because the Greeks were so lazy. Instead of taking care of making money out of the product of the olive tree, they sold the olive trees to California. So it is a tree. The same thing happened with to finish the story of the olive oil, this is what it was so healthy at the time. It was something so highly respected as a product, and this is why, if you are part of the Christian faith, you see during the baptism, the priest to put the signal of cross, the sign of cross, in the hands of the child and over of his forehead and his heart, providing a wish of health. The same thing happened with the grapes. That's where they started in Greece, and they ended up all the way up in Ireland. And that's where the wines were made, and the wine that we have during the if you take a communion in a Christian church, the wine is part of what you are taking. So because both of these items were used by the apostles, and they became, a part of the faith. So to make it my long story short, we have to realize that, if it is a pine tree or an olive tree or an orange tree or an apple tree, these things, they are product of this planet, and they have been transferred from place to place, from country to country, depending on the climate of each geographical position. They become productive or not.
One thing that really stands out for me in how robust the olive is, and how there's so much going on in just a tablespoon of olive oil.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised, Tassos, there's 120 calories in that. Now, I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm saying that as a positive. There's so much in that 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
Yeah. I'm telling you, put on your salads, with a little oregano and a little vinegar, and you will see the taste that you have. It is medicine that the mouth that the body enjoys and uses it.
Well,
to help.
It goes back to what they said many centuries ago, that food is medicine. Food is medicine. We don't look at it that way.
But this is what it is, This is where I get very upset when I see people putting in their stores seed oil or vegetable oil, anything and when I see the agriculturists just spraying the hell out of whatever they have grown on their land. We have to stop feeding people with products that they damage the health of a human being. I do not know what country has more cancer, issues with cancer, than the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are hurting ourselves. I said to people in anything, when we have a conversation, that the worst species on this planet is the human being. We are hurting each other to make money.
Yep, you're 100% right. And that what woke me up to exactly what you're saying is I learned fairly recently that in French fries, okay, just fast food restaurant French fries,
yeah.
In the United States there are 17 ingredients.
Yeah.
In the UK there are 3. Mm-hmm. What a difference! We're poisoning ourselves.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's scary, and they say, for instance, the politicians do not understand. They say inflationary prices. BS inflationary prices. With the storms that we have now in Florida, will they find any apple trees or orange trees producing anything? It's happening every day. In Texas, you have animals dying because of the heat. In California, you have the same problems because of the fires. We are destroying this planet because that's what we believe is right for us. Let's pollute the air. Well, my friend, I do not pollute the air in my business. I use hands or electrical equipment, no machinery that pollutes the air. This is how we have to deal to keep this planet safe. And the people living on this planet safe, and not sending them to the hospitals when they become even 5 or 6 or 7 years old kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all about a money grab. Pharmaceuticals, medical. We've basically modeled this country after that. Somebody's sick, you go to the doctor, gives you some pills. They're making money off of that. Big pharma, they're making money off of that.
Absolutely. It irritates me when scientists rather than getting together and fighting the drugs that the pharma is producing and pushing them and the medical profession to talk to the American people, to the consumers, about the fact that you don't eat good food, you get sick.
Yeah.
And get them to understand that, when we went into when I went into the olive oil business, everyone had corn oil in the stores. I was the only olive oil in the grocery stores here in the Midwest. And then everybody else got involved with olive oil from Spain and Italy. I don't blame them. It's a good product. But use a good product. Produce it properly. Don't press peats to get olive and leaves to get olive oil. Use an olive to make olive oil. There's a difference in quality, in the chemistry of the product, and how good it will be for you. And then have the FDA, before it allows a product to come into the United States, to examine it. And then let it go into the market.
I have to tell you, the olive oil that I got still had a fruity olive taste to it. It wasn't overwhelming. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've never been a huge fan of olives. I don't intentionally put them into salads. If they're in there, at a restaurant, okay. It wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't pungent. It wasn't bitter. It was just a nice light experience. I was very refreshed. I want to go back in time, Tassos. Where did you have the realization that olives and olive oil, now we're centering on that. You make lots of products and sell lots of products on your website and your business. But when it came to the olives, when did you have that realization that this is the way to go? This is healthy. When did that happen for you?
Well, the olive tree has a big history about peace. Where you see the dove flying around in ancient times with a branch of an olive branch in their mouth. You see the history of the fact that Greece was the first country to have olive trees, and no one from the agriculture community, the olive growers, has set up the goal to export Greek olive oil in the United States. And when I was trying to satisfy my father's wish, where he says, "What did you do in Greece?" As I have told you before, when he saw the monument that I built for the young men that lost their lives when they tried to free there were about 10 prisoners from the American embassy in the east side of, you must remember that during the Carter era, and their helicopters crashed on the desert. He said to me, "What have you done for Greece?" I said, what I can do for Greece is produce a product that they have it all these centuries, that they have done nothing for it. And the mission to me was to find something that was good for the human being and bring it from Greece to North America. So it was a tough thing to do. It was not easy because people are used to live a different type of life than when you come here. And even though some people think that the immigrants poison the blood or the Americans, they do not understand that everyone here is a product of immigrants. So I was trying to do something that can be helpful to the American consumer. I sent the olive oils to 3 major hospitals to be tested for their medicinal quality. This is why the label has the American Heart Association certificate. And I was trying to be honest with myself and my customers, which I have done all my life in my work. And and this is how it started, and this is where it is.
Wow. You have so much passion, not just for your products, but for the human race and our country and all of that. And it came clear to me a few times back, Tassos, when we were talking, where, and I know it's ridiculous that I'm even saying this, but I never connected how important the earth is in our lives. Everything we eat comes from the earth. Good stuff. I'm not talking about chemicals that are manufactured. Everything, right down to the animal. If you eat meat, that they came from the earth because they graze on the earth. It all starts with the earth.
Right.
And you can't.
But don't give the cow and the sheep and the chicken hormones to get fat.
Right.
So that people can eat something with hormones in it. Don't poison the consumer because they have no other place to go to find their food except the United States.
Right.
This is the most criminal gang that I have ever faced in my life. And when you talk to the young buyers, they have no idea whatsoever about what they are buying to offer to their customers.
It really is.
It's disheartening.
I agree with you. And
to make money knowingly that you are poisoning the consumer.
I'm not agreeing with you just because we're talking here today, but the more research I do, the more studying, it is atrocious what is being put in our foods. And all these big companies, and when you look at most of what we eat, it comes from 5 companies. They use different names on them.
Yeah.
But you'll look on the label and it says, some products in here came from bioengineered, blah, 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 meaning that it wasn't even grown, or it was, there was...
Chemically constructed. It's just, here, I give you another example. My history was, when I started in engineering, we designed and developed the electrical transformer, and the cables that they go underground, electrical cables, and the electrical generator. Think, we use this. The only place we were able to use it, I'm talking about the 70s now, it was in the expressways, where any expressway you travel, you don't see cables hanging in the edges of the road.
Right.
All this electricity is transferred with underground cables. Think if they had done the same thing in Florida, where the storms are tearing down. I mean, the engineering is there, the manufacturing is there. If they will take the cables out of the sky, where they cut the trees in order to put a pole up with a cable and transformers hanging up on the air, and they had it all underground, everyone today would have had electricity in Florida. The same thing in Texas with the ice storms. The same thing with California with the fires that they start and then they get involved with the electrical cables, and then they start fire. We are the worst enemies on this planet because of money.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you know what? There it is. It comes down to one thing, and it's all about money. And it's not the consideration of people. Quite the opposite with your company. Tassos.com is the website, and that is spelled TASSOS.com. Tasso, wonderful talking with you. Love all your passion, your insight on all of this, and you make a pretty good olive oil. Got to tell you.
Thank you very much. You have to taste our olives too. I will send you some.
Yeah, you know what?
It's again with the olives. They were sending them out. I know the time is almost over. The people were eating olives with pits in them. I am the guy that pitted the olives, so you don't break your teeth. You have a 10-year-old kid, and he bites on an olive and breaks his tooth, and he stays all his life without a tooth.
Right.
But, I mean, this is how people involved in the food industry must behave. The first thing and most important is does my product do something good for the health of the consumer, and stop using all kinds of garbage to feed the American people. This is not fair.
It's not. It's not. And we all have the same goal. We want to be healthy. We want to be healthy. But, it's convenience. It's almost, you can't get away from it except finding companies like yours. And you have not just olives. I mean, I'm looking at pepper stuff with cream cheese on your website. Wow.
Yeah, and also feta cheese. We have a whole big category of that. And cherry peppers with cream cheese also.
Wow.
It's the earth is producing so many beautiful things. Why don't we use them as they are naturally, and stop giving them a storm of chemicals so they can grow faster and become bigger?
It's such a shame.
Leave them alone. Water them. That's all they want. Water.
Well, you think back, centuries ago, they weren't dealing with a lot of the health issues we have now. It comes from our food. Tassos, great having you on here today again.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate everything you do, and I'm looking forward next time we talk.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All the best. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.